Friends and family, brothers and sisters, kings and queens, people of the world. I know we are living in a pandemic time. I know it's crazy out here, and I'm not one in the social media and doing videos or whatever, but I'm not sure if we are fully aware of what's going on. And I just want to bring something to a light. I live in Florida. I'm a British citizen. I live here with my wife and my children. Excuse me. On Monday, April the 13th, Bank Holiday Monday in the UK, Easter Monday as we call it, I was called by my sister in the UK in London saying that she got a call from one of the carers who looks after our dad. Our dad is 93 years old. He resides in northwest London, NW10 to be in fact. We have 2 living carers that live with him that maintain his health and so forth, look after him, do all what needs to be done 24 hours a day. Fantastic. We got a call that Dad is not seeming to be well. We were told that he had his porridge in the morning and everything was fine. Got up, had his shower, went and had his porridge, had his breakfast, went down to the living room, had his lunch. In the afternoon, he was feeling a bit queasy and went and lied down. But they noticed he kept on feeling worse, looking worse. So they called my sister, who fortunately is a registered nurse, who manages her own business, her own home care business. She rushed down there, had on the mask and everything, saw what was going on. Looks like Dad was struggling to breathe. So she did what she could, got him comfortable, sat him up, patted his back, got air into his lungs, and basically called the ambulance 999 and then called me on FaceTime so that I can speak with my dad, informing me what's going on. So I started to speak with my dad. I could see that he wasn't 100% as he normally is. And I'm saying, Dad, it's me, it's your son. I called my name. Can you hear me? He said, yes. Do you know who it is? He said, yes. I said, it's me, and I called my name, and he looked up at me and he smiled. And then thereafter, the ambulance came, the doorbell rang, and the ambulance men came in, the first responders, and they said, they just want to know, is anybody in the house COVID-19? My sister said, as far as we're aware, no one is. However, my dad seems to have respiratory issues. He's not breathing correctly as he normally does. Okay, so they said, well, let's check him. Let's check his temperature. So they checked his temperature. I'm still on FaceTime. I'm viewing everything. They checked his temperature. His temperature came in at 36.6 Celsius. Now, for anybody in the US, you know, we don't work on the metric system, so we don't use Celsius, we use Fahrenheit. And I couldn't remember what the Celsius temperature was at 36.6. So I quickly Googled it whilst on FaceTime. That's 98 Fahrenheit. So he didn't have a temperature, long and short of it. So they said, well, look, let's check his oxygen levels, and his oxygen levels was at 84%. They said, well, it appears that, you know, he needs oxygen and it should be at least 95. So he needs oxygen. My sister asked, do you have an oxygen tank in the ambulance? They said, we do, and we could administer it to him. However, we still want to know what's the underlying issue. So we think it's better that we take him into hospital and evaluate the situation. I said, okay, please though, don't take him to Norfolk Park, because I've been hearing stories about Norfolk Park, which is in North London, Harrow, whoever may know where it is, that whoever goes in there coming out. They said it's not up to them, they'll make it's not their decision. However, they sat outside the house for a little while. I believe inside my dad was receiving oxygen, that I don't know. What I do know is they came back out and said, look, he's going to go to Royal Free. Whoever knows where Royal Free is, we know that's in Hampstead, that's in North London. So off he went to Royal Free Hospital. Within an hour, they said, we'll contact you when we get in and we know what ward he's in. Within an hour of them getting to the hospital and my dad being checked in, they called my sister and they've told my sister, this is where your dad is and you better come and say goodbye. What do you mean? Well, you know, we don't think he's going to make it throughout the day. Now, I found that really, really weird. And so my sister said, look, I'm going to call him back and I'm going to try and get through and see what's going on. Called and called and called and called and called, and she couldn't get through. One of the times she was on hold for about 55 minutes, 45 minutes, whatever the case may be, but she couldn't get through. So we decided that what we're going to do, we're going to call back in the middle of the night. And my sister, being a ward sister, worked in those hospitals, know what it's like. She said maybe they're doing handover, because I'm getting anxious. She said, but maybe they're doing a handover, changing the nurse station, so they're so busy they can't answer the calls. And they're under pressure, and we understand that. And, you know, compliments to all our first responders. Anyway, she called me about midnight, my time, which is 5 a.m. her time, and said, look, I fell asleep, but let's call them now. And I said, look, I'm in the bathroom and getting ready to go to bed, but let me come out the bathroom, let me get myself together, and I'll call you back in a few minutes. Got in the bed, called her on speakerphones, sitting up next to my wife, called her. I then called Royal Free Hospital, put in the extension code, and got through to the ward where my dad is, on the 12th floor in Royal Free. We asked the nurse, how is Dad? And she wanted to verify who we were. We had to go through all the confirmations that we are next of kin. We do have a right for his information to be shared with us. I'm the son, and this is my sister, who is his daughter. So we were told that let her get the vital signs, let her get his charts and check him out. She checked him out. She said, look, I can tell you 100% Dad is in 100% good care, and he is doing fantastic. She said, I am not the ward sister in charge normally here, but I am tonight. I'm doing a bank shift, so I'm taking care of this ward tonight. And in fact, your dad, Clifford, is my patient, and I literally just saw him not too long ago, and all of his vitals seems to be okay. So my sister, being a nurse, said, well, can you read off the charts and run through everything with me? She said, what do you want to know? Well, does he have a temperature? No, he doesn't. Okay, what about his vitals? Well, his blood pressure is 128/80. Now, bearing in mind, he's 93 years old. My sister said, wow, that's excellent. What about his oxygen level? His oxygen level is 97%. My sister said, wow, it was 84 when he was admitted. She said, yeah, I'm telling you, all of his vitals are good. So my sister said, well, does that mean he'll be able to come home today? She says, well, I don't see why not. Everything seems to be fine. The only thing is, he seemed a bit dozy. And I kept on saying, Clifford, Clifford, and he'd open up his eyes and look at me, and then he'd close back his eyes. My sister and I, we had concluded that, well, maybe he's tired because of the ambulance, the traveling and all of this. But because of all of his vitals are good, as far as we're concerned, we're fine. And we couldn't comprehend why the doctor had called the evening before saying, come and say goodbye. And only one of you can come. Anyway, that was 12:35 a.m. Eastern, 5:35 a.m. GMT, London time. By 9:30 a.m. Eastern, I think that's about 2:30 p.m. GMT, UK time, my sister called again and said, you're not going to believe this. I just got another call from the doctor who called the day before, and he was saying, you need to come down to the office and say goodbye to Dad. Now, bear in mind, we've just spoken to the nurse and they're saying all of his vitals are good, everything's fine. We're discussing about him being discharged. So my sister says, hold the line, because you need to tell this to my brother. I need to get my brother on the line. So she's called me, she's put the nurse on hold, called me, and before she's merged the call, she's told me what they said. So she's connected the call, and I said, can you explain to me what's going on? And she says, yeah, we're telling your sister that she needs to come down and, say goodbye, because Dad, we don't think he's going to make it through today. Well, why is that? Well, we believe he's on his way out. Well, why is that? She said, because it is. It is so. We don't think he'll make it through today. So I said, well, I think that's really strange, because I phoned there a few hours ago. His blood pressure was 128/80. He has no temperature All his oxygen level is 97%. All of his vitals are good. So why are you saying he's not going to make it? She goes, you called here? I said, yeah. She says, can I transfer you to the consultant? Who's that? That's the doctor in charge. Please go ahead and do so. So she placed us on hold, transferred us, and the doctor came on and said, who am I speaking to? How can I help you? And I said, look, I think you know how you can help me. We don't need to go through this rigmarole. What's going on with my dad? He says, well, we've made a phone call and we've asked your sister to come down. And my sister said, why is that? And the doctor said, well, we think he's in his last days. We think today he's not going to pass throughout today. And we're giving him care to make him comfortable. And she said, well, what do you mean? He said, well, we've been administering morphine as of yesterday. My sister screamed out. And I've never heard my sister scream like this before. At the highest pitch you can think of, screaming, you're killing him! You're killing him! You're killing him! I touched the screen. I saw the 2 red symbols. I pressed end on her number. I cut her out the call because I wanted to hear what the doctor had to say. And I said, you're giving him morphine? Yes, we are. Wasn't you aware of that? No, none of us was aware of that. Nobody knew. And as far as we were concerned, that is fine. He says, well, I said, hold the line. Before you say anything else, my sister has dropped off. In reality, I cut her off. I said, let me add her back. I dialed her back. I said, sis, you okay? She said, yeah, I'm sorry for that outburst, but they're killing him, my brother. They're killing him. I know what they're doing. So I added her to the call. I said, so doctor, tell me something. Why are you administering morphine to him? He says, well, he is 93. I said, not being funny. His mother lived to 103. And I'm not saying that he was going to live to 103, but I know he was not going to die. He says, well, we have run some tests on him and we can see that his kidneys is not 100%. His kidneys is not, and my sister says, yeah, we know his kidneys has been at about 70% since 2016. We know this. Furthermore, if you're giving him morphine, there's no way his kidneys is going to be able to receive that and filter it. No way. When you know his kidneys is not running at 100%. He said, and we did notice that he has a heart pacer. Yeah, he's had that heart pacer since 2016. But that's still not a reason for why you're giving him morphine. The doctor said, well, his respiratory level has dropped. My sister then rebutted that and said, well, look, his respiratory has dropped because you've given him morphine. What morphine has done has slowed down everything. The heartbeat will be beating slower. His respiratory will be slower. I said, hold on a minute, sis. I said, excuse me, sir, you still haven't justified why you're giving him morphine, because this morning, his vitals was 128/80. That's his blood pressure. His temperature, he had no temperature. His oxygen level was at 97%. All of his vital signs were good. So why was you administering morphine? And they mentioned another, but I can't remember. It begins with M, but they mentioned another product they were giving him. But we were told he was only getting saline. And the head nurse was saying he's fine. So the doctor said, well, when did you call? I said, we called this morning. Oh, okay. Well, obviously there's been a breakdown in the communication, but we think your sister needs to come in because dad's on his last days. We don't think he'll make it throughout today. I said, doctor, you still haven't justified to me why you're giving dad morphine. Why are you giving him morphine? Morphine is heroin. Why are you pumping him with this stuff? He said to me, well, research has said, and I said, hold on a minute. I don't want to hear about what research has said. What I want to know is, why are you giving my dad morphine when all of his vital signs are good? The only thing you've given him so far that we was aware of was saline. I said, what do you have to say for that? He says, well, the only thing I can say is I'm really sorry and your sister should come down now. So my question is, does these doctors have a 007 license? 2 hours later, my dad was dead. 2 hours later, they killed him. So they're 007. They believe he was 93. As soon as he was admitted, they saw, well, he has an issue. We don't. I even asked the doctor, does he have COVID-19? The doctor says, well, we've run the tests and we're waiting for the results to come back. I said, but there's no implication that he has. He doesn't even have a temperature. So why are you pumping him with morphine? He says, well, I wouldn't use the word pump. My sister said, how much morphine has he received? He says he's received 3 doses at 3.75 milligrams in total. My sister said, Floyd, they're killing him. They're putting him to sleep. All of his systems is going to shut down. Now, bear in mind, a few hours ago, I had just spoken to him. Bear in mind, it's not even 24 hours. After that call, 2 hours later, my dad was dead. So my thing is now, please guys, if you can avoid the hospitals, because I see what they're doing. I witnessed it firsthand. Remember, he had no issues, no underlying ailment. And soon as he went in, an hour later, they tell him, my sister, come and say goodbye. They started from then. And it made sense. And I said it to the doctor. Now I know why. The nurse had turned around and said, all of his vital signs are good, but she can't understand why he was dozy like that. It's because he was under the influence of morphine. Now, that made me think, was the morphine on his charts? Because she read from his charts and she said he should go home, but she wants the doctor, after he's done his rounds in the morning, to evaluate Mr. Clifford because she doesn't understand why he has been dozy. Okay, now we know why. My friends, my brothers, my sisters, kings, queens, people all over the world, be careful. Because I don't know what the plan is, but obviously there is a plan.